Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's kind of weird being back in front of the camera because it's been a long winter of not doing anything. I am starting off the work season in Grafton, Ohio. So we are on a road trip officially out here with, let's see here, if I can remember, this is Mike here. We've got Wyatt and Taylor out there. Taylor owns the business. I believe it's called Abraham Drainage. I'm not sure, don't quote me on that. But yeah, we're out here installing drain tile. And we get to use that sweet beast over there. He's got a wheel trencher. We're gonna dig into that here shortly. So just a quick side note for you guys. When you're getting ready for a road trip, you know, especially when you're a filming guy and you have a bunch of camera gear you have to worry about, and then I have to do my live stream gear because I'm doing the live stream on the road, it didn't occur to me to double check that I grabbed my work boots. So this morning, the alarm goes off, and I'm stumbling around my hotel room at 6 o'clock in the morning looking for my work boots, only to realize I didn't bring my work boots. So today, we are rocking the Walmart special. Brahmas, baby. And this times out well because I just had a comment on my oh, I don't even remember which video it was, but I just had a comment from a guy telling me that the best pair of work boots were the cheap Brahmas, and you just churn through them. Well, we're inadvertently, accidentally gonna put that to the test because now I officially own a pair of Brahmas. So, that being said, my job today is running that Doosan, which I don't really have a lot of seat time in a Doosan, so that's gonna be fun all in itself. But I'm running the Doosan. I'm gonna be backfilling behind Taylor, who's gonna be running the trencher as he gets this line put in. And that's gonna be our day for today. We've got some ditch cleaning. I'm gonna be here for 5 days, believe it or not. So I've got a little time in the seat. We'll record it all. We'll get some good videos for you. So as always, we'll catch you guys in the machine. All right, guys, so we are in the machine. My job is basically to go through and backfill where he has trenched and they've got the line in. And you have to do this without screwing up the pipe because it's, you know, soft wall plastic. So you try not to bust the pipe when you backfill. At least that's the goal anyway. And the reason we're leaving a gap there is because he's got a tie-in that we're gonna do there. So Taylor was telling me this Doosan, the controls are really sensitive, and I am 100% in agreement. These are super sensitive controls, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it is going to take some getting used to. It's almost like, he described it perfectly, it's almost like running a Mini, they're so sensitive. We'll just blame it on the fact that it was a long winter. That's what it is. That's why I'm operating like a rookie. Long winter. like I said, all I'm doing here, the reason I'm taking a little off the top is just to get a little cover on that pipe to protect it before I go with the big scoop over top of it. I will say the other factor playing into this is how freaking cold my hands are. So overall, I mean, it's a beautiful morning, but it's like 20 something degrees and I wore a coat, so I'm not cold overall, but good Lord, flying the drone and doing some of the shots I've been doing, my hands are stinking cold. Which of course also plays into you looking like a rookie while you operate. But all that being said, it's good to be back in the seat. I was getting antsy. It's been a long winter of just sitting. And as anyone in the industry knows, by springtime, you're ready to get back in the seat of a machine. That's one of the things about this industry. I always talk about how it gets in your blood and you can't leave it. That's it. You sit at home and, you know, especially for guys that are working full time and get the layoff, let me shut this door a little better. Much better. For the guys who are working and get the layoff, you know, in October, November, when that layoff finally comes, it's like, oh, relief. You finally get some time to spend at home. And then within about a month and a half, 2 month period, you're back to wanting to go operate again. As part of the industry, we all love it. So I talked about this in, excuse me. So I talked about this in my video that I did last season when I was helping my farmer friend put in, or backfill for his tile that he was putting in. The key here on the backfill is you don't want to strip the topsoil out, because that's why farmers, you know, that's why this ground is valuable to the farmers, is because of the topsoil and all the nutrients they put into it. And so as I go along here with this ditching bucket, I'm trying to just skim the surface. You can see I'm actually leaving grass and stuff here. I'm literally just peeling off the material he's taken out of the hole, and that's because we don't want to take any of that topsoil and put it down in the trench. Which, by the way, if you're unfamiliar, this is a ditching bucket. It doesn't have teeth on it, it's flat. Typically you're 36 or 48 inches wide on a ditching bucket. And the whole idea behind this bucket is it doesn't have teeth, so it leaves a nice, clean, flat bottom. And that's why it's called a ditching bucket, is because generally you're using it to clean out ditch bottoms and stuff. You'll also hear guys call it a cleanup bucket because of exactly why we're using it right now. It's great for cleaning up when you just want to take the pile and not actually dig into the ground below. And the reason I am not worried about leaving this mounded is because you're going to get settling, first of all, and then secondly, once they run a cultivator through this field, you will never even know these trenches existed. So, you know, as much time as I took on that last job, making it look all beautiful. Once I went out into the field after they had cultivated and really understood what that cultivator was capable of doing, it, you know, I'll just say it, it was a waste of time. But by God, it looked good, didn't it? But all that to say, I'm not taking the time to make it look pretty, especially when I got to keep up with that trencher right there. Alright guys, I'm going to shut the camera off. We'll hit you guys here in a little bit when there's something interesting that happens.
Always
Alright, so I figured I would show you guys a top-down view. I'm going to fill in. We were going to do a tie-in back over here. We've decided we're actually going to tie in back here. So I need to go get my bucket. So I'm going to fill in where we were going to tie in up here. And then I'm going to switch over and pick up the digging bucket. And I figured I would show you guys the quick coupler. If you've never ran excavators before, quick couplers, there's a dozen different quick coupler manufacturers out there. Everyone has a different way of doing it. Every manufacturer has a different position. You've got to have the bucket in to uncouple and couple. So, you know, I asked Taylor this morning how you work this coupler. There's nothing wrong with asking guys how to work the quick coupler. That's not a stupid question. It's not as obvious as it should be, and there is a variation between couplers. So all that to say, once we get over here to where we're going, I will show you the process with this coupler. It is pretty similar to other quick couplers, but we'll get there. So let's first see if we can save his flag out here. I don't know if he wants it saved or not, but we'll see what we can do. That's one thing about this hoe. The controls are a little jumpy, so it makes it hard to do some of the fine work. It's great in most other aspects, but doing some of the fine work makes it a little more difficult. All right, let's get you back up there. I may not be able to save this one. I did one earlier and I felt like a real champ. But this one's gonna be a pain. You know what? There goes. We didn't save it, guys. We didn't save it. I'm sorry. Taylor, if you watch this, I'm sorry. I tried. I will say that's one thing about videoing. You always do the most amazing things when the camera's off, and then when you try to replicate those things with the camera on, you just look like a rookie. I don't know, that's got to be a law of nature. Ooh, it's sloppy wet. Yuck. I thought it was starting to dry out a little bit, but apparently I just had to take 3 inches off the freaking top to get to the mud. I'd like to steal a little bit to fill this low area here. There we go. We'll call that good. All right, now to the coupler business. So we're gonna spin our bucket around here the right way. Alright, so this one, the coupler is an aftermarket module. Let's make sure our thumb's tight. It's an aftermarket module. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on the GoPro or not. At the bottom of my bucket, let me tap the screen and see if you can. Yeah, just barely. So there is a wedge that you can see with this bucket that you will not be able to see with the other one. But basically when I turn this coupler, I'm going to push on and then I'm going to push unlock. It's gonna beep at me. Now I have to curl over relief and you're gonna see that wedge go up. And once it's done moving, we're gonna uncurl nice and gentle. And I will show you how this works with no bucket on it. So there are 2 parts of this coupler that move. So we're gonna go to the lock position and you can see it's already gonna, these are negative pressure systems. So basically, it's always going to default into the lock position unless you tell it to unlock and actively pull your controls over relief. So you notice I did not have any hydraulic functions moving and it locked itself. That's a safety feature. But the other thing I wanted to show you is you have the bottom piece of the coupler that moves. You also have a top piece. So when I unlock this, watch what happens to the top piece. It also moves. And now you can see it's in the open position where we can grab our other bucket. And so we're gonna hook this top pin here first and curl into it. And because I'm a little out of whack here, I'm gonna grab it and lift up, let that bucket center itself, and I'm gonna curl all the way until we get a stop. And I'm just gonna stick in enough that the weight is back and because in order for that bottom slide to slide down, I know my hands are all over the place here. In order for that bottom slide to slide down, the weight needs to be back on that back pin. And that's the reason we stick in, is we want that bucket leaned all the way back up against the stick. I'm gonna hit my lock button, and like I showed you earlier, the coupler's moving right now. You can hear the spring, but I'm just gonna help it by going over relief real quick. And then this is the most critical part. Anytime you do a coupler, uncurl, give it a shake, and make sure it is locked. Because you can see, let me stick in here, with this bucket, you can't see. Now, another thing I do want to talk about, because you can actually do it in this machine, and you haven't been able to in other machines I've been running lately, is you can absolutely come into contact with the cab of the machine with the bucket. Always make sure you're aware whether or not you can do that in the machine you're running, so you don't look like an idiot, because I have seen so many of these freaking bars on the outside here bent to pieces because guys don't realize that the bucket will come into contact with the cab of the machine. So again, like always, know your machine, know what you're doing. And now we're going to carry this bucket back over here to where we're doing our tie-in. Which, by the way, I know I haven't been too negative on the Doosan. I am really impressed with this hoe, but I do have one big complaint. The radio is tucked way back in behind me, like at a totally awkward angle. If you wanted to see the screen or do anything, it is so ridiculously out of the way in an irritating position. That is one thing that would drive me insane about this machine, is the location of the radio. Outside of that, it's a pretty nice little machine. Yeah, so if you wanted to hook in your auxiliary cable for your phone or anything, let me see here, I may be wrong. Oh, no, I take it back. They provided you with controls, but still, if you want to look at the screen at all for the radio, it's back behind you. That's highly irritating. So this is Wyatt standing here with the grade rod. I'm sorry, Wyatt. Wyatt's in the trench. This is Taylor standing here with the grade rod. Which side are you going to throw your spoils on? Okay. Just put that out of the way for now. And now I'm going to get out of his way so he can survey this line. You want me to go ahead and dig it in?
This is center trench.
Okay. So we're gonna dig a tie-in. And all we're doing basically is getting a little run started where he can take the machine and drop into the trench. About there?
We're gonna save a connection and we'll just bend that around and splice on and keep going.
Dig a little arc, or has he got enough?
Dig an arc, that bucket's big enough.
Okay.
Wyatt, go ahead and watch him, I'll survey this.
You don't want me to take that corner? Just needs a little more counterweight. I don't know what that was, it just flew in here. You need more taken out?
Might need some thrown back in, to be honest.
Did it get low?
It is back there. One Taylor tonight.
Yeah, it's deceiving because it looks like it's coming uphill towards me. I see that low spot in there in the back. You want a little in that hole, that dip right there?
Oh yeah. Got a little deep on it.
Okay. Still that low?
3/10 low.
Okay.
Get a little more.
Okay.
This stuff pretty much spread it out and hit it down first before you try to heal it, because it'll
Just smears.
that's the money shot right there.
You like it?